If you ask me, China's going to lose that game. Unfortunately, they have been preparing for the last 4 years for this game, right? They were unprepared 1.0. Now Trump 2.0, they knew it was coming. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult this time. And the bigger the economy, the harder these tactics are.
Yes.
Hey, Carl. Well, China's counter tariffs are probably not going to have a meaningful impact on American business. Unlike President Trump's blanket tariffs, China's are targeted. Goldman Sachs has estimated that the Chinese levies cover $14 billion of U.S. exports to China. So that's only about 10% of the overall number of goods that the U.S. shipped to China last year. What is going to be important for us to watch, though, going forward is just how willing China is to expand its retaliatory toolbox. Already we saw a willingness, or at least a seemingly willingness, last week to target specific companies.
And I saw there was a Chinese economist, this was like a week ago, and he was on at like 5:30 in the morning in one of the financial shows, and this either he didn't know what he was talking about, or he was definitely a spokesperson for the People's Republic of China, because he said that he was basically saying that China was prepared and could outmaneuver them. China, if you don't know, by the way, their economy has been really, really stagnant lately, and it comes at a really hard time for this to happen to them. So hopefully they come to the negotiating table and everybody makes out like bandits. But I think Xi Jinping is going to be a little bit more tougher this time. Like I said, they've been preparing.
Last week, when the Chinese were announcing the countermeasures, one of the actions was to launch an antitrust investigation into Google to blacklist PVH as well as Illumina.
They're playing dirty.
And last December, it also launched an antitrust investigation into NVIDIA. There are also reports that the antitrust watchdog is now mulling
NVIDIA.
Investigation into Apple. So you have all of that, and then overnight, the Wall Street Journal was reporting that the Chinese strategy could be to expand this to include Broadcom as well as Synopsys. So the Chinese Foreign Ministry today responded to that, dismissing the report, but this is something.
And listen, we did the same thing with Huawei, if you remember. We went as far as having their people imprisoned in Canada, if you remember that scandal.
That the business community here has been very concerned about as President Trump takes office, that the Chinese would be using this type of retaliatory tool to push back against whatever President Trump decides to do. Guys?
Meanwhile, Eunice, I don't know if you've noticed, but I mean, after a period of drastic underperformance, K-Web's up 10% for the year. S&P's up only 2%. I just wonder if there is a sense that money is flowing in your direction once again.
From outside, I've heard that people say that the values of Chinese stocks has gotten so low, so maybe this is a time to get in. But from a Chinese perspective, a lot of investors are staying very far away from the Chinese stock market. Of course, a lot of Chinese cannot, unless you're really a professional, invest outside of the country. There are a lot of capital controls that make it difficult for people to do that. And in fact, what we're seeing here is many Chinese investors and just ordinary Chinese looking to open U.S. dollar accounts as well as investing into gold. So it's a little bit of an irony, actually, because the messaging in China has always been that that the dollar shouldn't dominate, that the yuan should gain an international status, but its own people are looking at the U.S. dollar thinking maybe that's a better investment.
Interesting.
Yeah, it does explain gold at all-time highs once again. Eunice, we'll talk with more frequency today.